And with that, we welcome in and are thrilled to have ESPN senior NFL writer Mike Clay joining us. And Mike, I know you heard that last little bit. Did you have a Nick Harris touchdown in your 2024 projections for the Seahawks when you put them out, or if you want to amend it to the Browns now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so look, I came on this show. It's a Cleveland show. I didn't realize you guys would be biased against your own players because I have him with 3 touchdowns. So I don't know what you guys are doing with only 1 touchdown.
We're sleeping on him.
Let me tell you something, though. Let me tell you, this is a big beef I got with ESPN right now. ESPN's fantasy guys like Mike Clay, the great Field Yates, Stephania Bell, all of them, they've been ducking me. They have not allowed me in their fantasy leagues. I'll kick all their asses.
Well, that's why you're not getting in. They're afraid.
Asses.
They're afraid.
That's right. They're scared. Mm-hmm. I'm the fantasy guru of Cleveland.
Did you win last year?
I did not win last year.
Okay.
But I won the year before. I'm dominating my fantasy baseball league. Mike probably doesn't know who the hell I am. But Field Yates has been on my podcast a number of times. And I want to be, even though nobody that watches will know who I am outside of Cleveland, I want to be in an ESPN fantasy league, and I want to kick all your asses. Mike, what do you have to say about that?
All right, well, look, hey, if you promise to take Nick Harris with your first pick, you're in. I mean, we'll put any amount of money on the line, whatever it takes.
All right.
Mike, when you look at the Browns, first of all, I love how detailed your projections are. I mean, you've got it down to the completions, down to the yards. It really is pretty incredible. I'd said earlier in this segment, and I don't think this is any shock, I don't think you find an expert nationally that would disagree with this. The biggest single question about the Cleveland Browns is Deshaun Watson, his quarterback play. And I looked at your projections for him, and although not earth-shattering, I think most Browns fans would say we'd take that compared to what we've seen from him in the 11 games he's played in an orange helmet. What makes you think that those numbers, I think it was 23 touchdowns, 11 picks, I could be wrong a little bit, but
21-11.
21-11. Like, how do you come up with that? What's your process?
Yeah, so obviously I'm going to weigh things he's done in the NFL so far. So there's a lean towards what he's done recently. But, guys, the sample's so small because he's been off the field so much. So I'm still looking back to what we've seen throughout his career when he has been healthy. I'm considering the supporting cast. I'm considering the fact that he has pretty good coaching. He has an outstanding offensive line. All those things are variables in this equation. Also, he wasn't that bad last year. Like, he started slow and he had his moments where it was ugly, but he flashed at times as well. He flashed signs that he can get back to where he was before. He also threw for over 200 yards in his last 4 full games, added some value with his legs. All those kind of things are variables here. So I think he still has a shot to get back on track. I'm a little bit more optimistic than some others are, but that's kind of how it all comes together.
Well, listen, 3,700, I've been saying the whole time, if he plays 17 games, I need 4,000 from you, Deshaun. 3,700.
4,000? You've been saying 5,000.
No. Listen, it's always been 4.
No.
It was 45.
45.
All right, we'll split
that's
it.
what I
Let
need.
me tell you something.
That's
Here's
what
the
I need.
deal. Those numbers that Mike has predicted for Deshaun Watson are completely fair based on what we've seen in recent years.
No, I agree.
They're more than
I
fair.
agree, yeah.
However, and they're not, again, I'm not saying I'm killing him if he has those seasons, but I've said this once, I'll say it a million times. The Browns
That's not why they brought him here.
traded what they traded and paid him what they paid him to be a superstar.
They did.
Not a good those are good, solid quarterback numbers. Baker Mayfield could put up those numbers for me. They didn't trade for him to be Baker Mayfield.
You're right, Bull.
Those are Baker Mayfield numbers. They're fine. Again, compared to what the last 2 years have been, I can't kill him if that happens. But if that's the best he can give us in his time in Cleveland, that's not good enough.
You don't have to answer that. That wasn't a question. That was a statement.
It really wasn't a question.
That was a statement.
But
I agree.
Let's ask Mike. Do you
But I
co-sign
agree,
that?
Mike.
Mike, do you co-sign that? Because Bull's right. We gave up 3 ones, and we paid him. We broke the bank. That's not break the bank numbers.
Yeah, I mean, his last full season in the NFL, guys, he led the NFL in passing yards, right? So we've seen what he can bring to the table, what his ceiling is. That's why you pay that much for a player of that caliber, not to mention that he was 6th in rushing yards among quarterbacks that's right. That final season. So you want the whole package. You gave up all that compensation not to get average or a little below average play. You paid that to get an elite top 5, top 7 NFL quarterback. So I could not agree more. The thing is, guys, though, as I'm sure we'll get to, this roster is very good, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So if he does play average football, they could still contend in the AFC. I mean, last year,
Sure.
I don't think a lot of people realize this, but their offensive efficiency, you look at the advanced metrics, very similar when he played versus when Joe Flacco played. Actually, it was a little bit better with Watson. It didn't seem like it if you were watching the footage, but they had their moments kind of quietly where they were moving the ball. So, again, I do still lean on the optimistic side because we've seen it from him before. He's still in his prime. The supporting cast is good. But I agree. If he puts up the numbers I'm projecting, it's going to be an okay season, enough for them to be a contender in the AFC, but it's not what you expected when you paid for paid that huge price for him.
Right.
I'm looking at it from a perspective with Jerry Jeudy coming in. A lot of people here are pessimistic. I wouldn't say pessimistic, but they don't think that Jerry Jeudy is a number one guy. When you look at his numbers that you have, where do you have Jerry Jeudy projected in his numbers? Because if Jerry Jeudy turns out to be a guy that is more like the first round pick that they got, Deshaun Watson's numbers go up. If Nick Chubb can come back and be 90% of what Nick Chubb is, Watson looks a lot better. Where do you got Jerry Jeudy in terms of his production this year?
Yeah, my projection right now, 61 catches, 920 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think that's solid, assuming Amari Cooper and David Njoku are healthy, because those guys are obviously going to be feature targets. So if you get 900 out of Jerry Jeudy and the other guys are on the field too, you probably had a pretty darn good season. Not to mention, I like Cedric Tillman a lot too. So I'm hoping he comes along, progresses in year 2, and they get something out of him as well. So look, I think Jeudy, he's battled injuries himself. He's had to go through quarterback struggles and coaching changes in Denver. 2 years ago, it looked like he was here. He had a big season a couple of years ago. It looked like he was the real deal. Kind of the wheels fell off a little bit last year, but again, a lot was going wrong in Denver last season. They obviously changed quarterbacks during the offseason, so I'm still hopeful. He has a lot of raw talent, and maybe the change of scenery will allow him to get to his ceiling.
Mike, I just completed some guys I know I play with. We just completed a 30-round new dynasty league. And
wow.
It was crazy. By the third, I think my 30th round pick was actually Michael Thomas. Who knows if he's going to play again? But I mean, for the 30th round, I was taking mostly young guys at the end, but whatever. But I took Nick Chubb, who you're predicting, I think 10 games, 700 something yards. I took him with the 121st pick, which I think was the first pick of the 13th round, either the last pick of the 12th round or the first pick of the 13th round. Too high, too low? What do you think about Nick Chubb?
Yeah, you know what? I love the guy like you all do. He's one of the best pure runners in the NFL. I've been kind of out on him like everyone else, at his age, coming off a major injury. And also, here's the thing with Nick Chubb from a fantasy perspective. He is super reliant on the big plays and the efficiency, right? That Hall of Fame level rushing ability, because he doesn't do much in the passing game. And they're going to use other backs. Just the nature of how he's been used throughout his career. He's just not too involved in the passing game. So he needs that. So if you say, okay, he's going to come back and play, but he might be 70% of the runner he was, at least in 2024, that's not good enough. That's not good enough from a fantasy perspective. It's going to be hard to rely on him. So I'm leaning pessimistic, but I'm hoping, he gets back out in the field and has another great year, maybe a couple of good years. It's going to be tough, though, off this injury and at his age.
Are those numbers that you put together for him, Mike, are you assuming that there's going to be a number of weeks inactive at the beginning? And if so, is that a guess? Are you getting intel? Like, where is all that coming from?
He has him playing 10 games. I saw that.
Okay,
Correct.
so where are you getting, is it just a gut, or are you hearing something that he just won't be ready until October?
No, I'm not hearing anything you guys are not hearing. I'm, speculating here that he'll start on IR or, miss the first month or so of the season. These projections are year-round. They're always fluid, and if we get new information, we adjust. Just this morning, I adjusted for Jalen Phillips in Miami and upped his games played because he's going to start the season in week 1 as opposed to like week 5 coming off that major knee injury. So if we get good news on Chubb tomorrow or today, I will update these accordingly. So again, I've kind of stuck with the 10 games for him for pretty much the whole offseason, assuming that he would miss a chunk of the season to start.
Where do you have Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett, I think he had 14 sacks last year or something. Was it 14
and a half?
14 last year, yeah.
14.
Because I've always been saying I want him to be upwards of 20. And I'd like to see the tackles for loss to go up a little bit. But he won the defensive year with 14. Where do you have him coming up?
Yeah, I'm pretty conservative with sacks. Part of the reason is injury rates across the NFL, and it's so hard to repeat high ceiling numbers. But still at 12 for Myles Garrett in the projections, which is a high number. 20 is asking a lot, but if anyone can do it, he's certainly on the short list. But I like their edge rushing room. I think it's top 3 in the NFL, maybe the best group in the league. So Garrett's obviously carrying a lot of the weight there. So superstar, I expect another huge season from him, and this whole defense. I think they're the best defense on paper, and I was kind of alone last year on this. I'm sure a few of you were on board. People watching the team closely knew this, but they were my third-ranked defense going into last season on paper, and I think it kind of flew under the radar, but they just had the raw talent, and now I could argue after kind of cementing themselves as an elite defense last year, they are, on paper, the best group in the league.
I'm keeping them, Jay, real quick. I'm in a keeper league where you keep 5 guys, and I'm keeping the Browns team defense at $1. I've never, in 24 years in this keeper league, I've never even considered keeping a defense.
Yeah, it's rare.
But it's $1, and I went for it, so I traded a lot of my young players last year. So
it's hard for me to get that Houston playoff
the
game
playoff
out of my
game was
mind.
bad. Yeah, that's fair.
And that was our last impression. Like you, I think they're going to be a good defense, top 5 perhaps, but I don't know. I still have questions after what I saw against Houston in the playoff game. I'm wondering, you said when you get new information, Mike, that you can, it's constantly fluid. Are you going to downgrade Amari Cooper's numbers because he's pissed now?
I have not. I have not yet. I'm monitoring the situation very closely, though. It is interesting the rumors that have kind of flown around, especially if they brought in after they brought in Jeudy this offseason. But no adjustments right now. Cooper kind of he's bounced around a few teams. Conflicting opinions on how good he is over the years. He as consistent as they come. We talk about it in fantasy a lot. He finishes like from 15th to 30th in fantasy points per game every year. Like literally every year of his career, he's finished in that window. So he's never quite gotten over the top to that huge statistical ceiling, but he's never been bad either. He's just really been a really solid, really good player throughout his entire career. So no movement there. I expect him to do what he's always done.
Mike, you also, on top of doing player projections, you do the weekly score projections, the win percentage, and projected win totals. You had the Browns, through your model, winning 10 games, which was the 8th most in the NFL. Are you buying into the Browns as being a legitimate contender in this gauntlet that is the AFC?
What kind of contender, Mike? Playoff contender or Super Bowl contender?
If he has the projection as a top 18, that means they'll be one of the top seeds in the AFC. Do you believe this team's good enough to win a Super Bowl?
I think they have the raw talent, yes. I think I have them actually ranked just grading the units, which I'm working on an article right now. It's going to be up on ESPN, I think, later this week or next week, where I grade every unit, every team, write some of those units up as well. I do it every year. Was very optimistic on Cleveland last year, and I'm very optimistic again this season. They come in 5th in those unit rankings, best defense and mid-pack in offense. So how do they get over the top and win the Super Bowl? You guys, it was the first thing you said when I came on. It's the obvious answer. It's the quarterback position. How good is Deshaun Watson? If you're going to compete with Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and even upstart teams like Houston or even the Jets, who I think are a powerhouse. I think the Jets will be a powerhouse this year. They are absolutely stacked on paper. They have the same question. What are they going to get out of the quarterback? So that's the question. Is Deshaun Watson average? Is he not very good? Is he elite again? Who is he? That's going to really drive home how good the Browns are this year. And by the way, if he does play high ball and he's a top 5, top 10 quarterback, no doubt about it, I think Cleveland will be right there in the running to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Mike, remember you heard it from me first. Everybody's high on the Jets. I'm projecting they are a bust, even though you're right, they have great talent. But Aaron Rodgers is 40 coming off an Achilles tear. Besides Tom Brady, who's played great at 40 years old, I just don't buy it, especially coming off an Achilles tear. That is a devastating injury. I just don't. Everybody loves the Jets, and I get it because the talent around him is really good. I love Breece Hall. You love everybody on that team. I just think Rodgers is going to be, at best, pedestrian this year, in my opinion, and I wouldn't be surprised if he got hurt again. And then what are they doing? I know the players on the team are like, well, we got Tyrod Taylor. Yeah, okay, good luck there. He's better than what you had, but you're not winning anything with Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, look, I hear you, but similar to Cleveland, I think that they have such a good team around him that even if he is average, they can be in contention. Are they going to get over the top and be like the Niners or the Chiefs? Probably not. If they get average play out of him, but I think that's probably the floor. I think he probably still has another good season in the tank. He looked like he had it last year. I know he's coming off the Achilles, but it's not like he's going to be running the ball, right? We're not talking about a scrambling quarterback here.
Sure.
He just has to hang in the pocket and get it to these top skill guys. And they couldn't do that. I mean, they've had the league worst quarterback play for years now, just way behind everyone else in quarterback efficiency, offensive efficiency, passing touchdowns, you name it. It's been just dreadful for guys like Garrett Wilson. So even getting average play can move the needle for this team so far because of how good that defense is. Not to mention, last year I was worried about them because the offensive line was a concern. And obviously it was because they just revamped it this past offseason, and it's substantially better now. So I think now, I feel a lot better about them now than I did last year, just because the guys around Rodgers are substantially better.
A lot of similarities between the Browns and the Jets.
Mike.
Not just this year, but going back the last couple of decades. Mike, great stuff. Give my best to Field. Tell him that the UCSS crew says hi, and we'll talk, I'm sure, again later this season.
All right, sounds great. Thanks a lot, guys.